Ladies and jelly beans, you guys already know the deal by now. We're hopping in for whatever day of Faction Wars hard we're on. I lost track after like day 2, but it is what it is. Today, we have the Sylvan Watchers as well as the Sacred Order open, and we're pushing through stages 4 to 6 on the Sacred Order, and then stages 7 to 9 inside Sylvan Watchers. So, we're going to hop straight into it here and just see what we're able to get done. Stage 4, Sacred Order. Reduce 6+ enemies' HP by 50% with 1 skill. Obviously, plenty of different options for this. We're probably going to use He-Man. He-Man's going to be fantastic for this. You could easily use Alice if you have her. Inquisitor Shamel will be absolutely fantastic for this too. Anybody that can just go ahead and put out those nukes. Probably the best example, though, actually is going to be Phoenix, because Phoenix can bring the block revive as well. But lots of good options, certainly, obviously. So let's go ahead and run this. Now, as I've been mentioning recently, channel memberships are live, so go ahead and hit the join button down below if you like the content and you want to support the channel a little bit more than the average person. Also, go ahead and make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're pushing to 2,500 subscribers, which is pretty crazy. I've gained like 40 subscribers in the last like week alone, which may not sound like much, but that's a lot for my channel. So make sure to go ahead and get in on all that juicy goodness if you'd like to. And then that being said as well, Discord is linked down in the description as well, so make sure to go ahead and check that out if you want to be a part of that. Now, we have 2 champions whose max HP was reduced by the needed 50%. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to switch this up a little bit. I'm going to bring in my other Deacon Armstrong, because this other Deacon, oddly enough, is the fast one. So this Deacon is at 242. Is that even faster than He-Man? That is not faster than He-Man. That's crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look if we can speed him up a little bit with a... Well, that'll do it, right? We put a chest plate on him and he'll be going a little bit faster. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. This is gearing 101. So, having that decreased defense in here should be enough to essentially just go ahead and clap them down without issue. Now, I am placing out a freeze too, which, I mean, it is what it is. The freeze is going to reduce the damage they take, but, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, what of it, right? And somehow, our He-Man is faster. That's a bit interesting. So we got 1 proc there so far. We're going to go ahead and just kind of A1 everybody until we can cycle around to He-Man's A3 and then just absolutely blast them into the ground. So let's go ahead and do that. And now He-Man has increased attack as well as a bunch of buffs, so this should be just easy mode. Here we go. Almost 300k dealt across the AoE there, which is pretty crazy. We're going to go ahead, just keep slamming into them here. We're going to get a block debuffs up. I have my Cardiel inside a 9-piece protection set as well, so you're going to see him hopefully placing a decent amount of protected buffs, which would be quite nice. Now, interestingly enough as well, my He-Man does not actually have 100% crit rate. He's at like 96% crit rate, so we may see him not actually crit on some of these champions, which would be kind of funny, but it is what it is. And I know there's probably going to be somebody in the comments complaining about the fact that I am using He-Man, considering he is quite literally, by every stretch of the imagination and sense of the word, a pay-to-win champion. But like I said, there's plenty of options inside this faction. Sacred Order is one of the most stacked factions that we have inside the game at every single rarity, as a matter of fact. Like epic, rare, legendary, and even their mythicals. They're all just absolutely stacked. So you're not really going to struggle to just do DPS inside Sacred Order. So this challenge, all things considered, is pretty simple. Hell, with a cracked out enough build, you might actually be able to do it with Deacon himself. So we do have the 6 here that we needed, though. So we're just going to go ahead and keep blasting into people here. Get the freezes up on them as well. I don't even think Noelle has all of her gear. Now, something that did slip my mind in the past couple episodes, actually, is I haven't been showing the builds, I don't think, for the champions at the end. So, my apologies if that's something that you've been sticking around for and you wanted to see how the champions were built. We're definitely going to do that in today's episode where I show you the builds. I've definitely been kind of busy, to say the very least. So these episodes are getting recorded after like 11-hour shifts each time. So, in a lot of cases, I don't necessarily have the most time because, for example, tonight I worked an 11-hour shift, and then I'm also recording this, and then I'm going to the gym right after. So busy. Mordecai is going to be our champion here, our go-to option for placing the HP burns that we need here. Now, if you don't have Mordecai, let's take a look and see who else you could use as an option. You have Venus. Venus actually might be a better way to go, because Venus is already built, and she's going to bring the decreased defense, so I think we're just going to use Venus. If you don't have Venus, use Mordecai, other way around, right? I think Candle Burner or something like that was the other champion that we had there, the epic champion that could place burns as well, but we're going to go ahead and get those burns placed. Venus is going to be fantastic for this because she's Void Affinity, so we really only need to worry about like the 3% chance that they don't, that they resist it, rather. So, you know, it is what it is. Now, obviously we have an annoying-ass Eric's on this wave, so we need to keep whacking into her as much as possible, try and make sure that she gets taken out. We're going to go ahead and get that decreased defense on everybody as well. Now, Venus is kind of a contentious champion because throughout the history of Raid, she's always been... How do I say this? Like, she's always been decent, but she's never been amazing, if that makes sense. Like, Venus is the kind of champion that you're happy to pull her, but you really wish she was a Sylphy, right? Because she brings an AoE defense break and an AoE burn, but she's a Void Legendary, which you just kind of expect a bit more from her kit, which, I mean, she does have more if you have her compadre Cupidus on the team, but then again, that calls into question, like, should you really have to have two Void, or, like, two Legendary champions to really get the best out of one of them, right? Like, you know, because Cupidus, apart from, like, just where you need DPS, he's not particularly special, so he's already been power crept to the moon inside Hydra, and you barely see him inside the arena anymore, because Taurus and Marichka would just absolutely clap his ass. So, yeah, it's a bit interesting, but Venus is obviously still going to get a lot of use in situations like this, so... Still a very, excuse me, still a very viable champion. Jeez, still a very viable champion for certain situations, of course. We're going to go ahead and take down the Duchess here. Not quite, unfortunately. My He-Man build has suffered a little bit because I gave him very good gear, and then that gear got switched to... Who did it go to? He-Man. That gear got switched to somebody else. Either way, that gear has now ended up on my... Oh my god, I cannot think of the dude's name. It's ended up on Carnage. I'm just having, like, brain farts here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind me too much. My excuse is the long day. But yeah, my gear from He-Man ended up on Carnage, so then He-Man, logically speaking, just got kind of the poopy leftovers, right? So he's not built out the best by any means, so, you know, just something to consider there as well. He could be doing way more damage, obviously, so this is not really a very good He-Man showcase. We're going to go ahead and get the AoE defense break, though, as well as the weaken. AoE freeze. We're also going to go ahead and buff everybody up here and attack the Blind Seer. This is going to put a increased crit damage, increased crit rate on our He-Man. We're going to go ahead and nuke into you, because why not? Take him out. They do get an increased defense, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. And then obviously we do have all the burns placed that we need to place as well. But we'll go ahead and get the burns anyway. Some fire and ice going on there. Obviously you could use Noelle's A2 if you're trying to cycle through this quicker. Let's go ahead and get the whack with He-Man. He-Man goes ahead and just absolutely blasts everybody there. So now we're on to stage 6, where we need to manipulate turn meters 40 plus times. Ladies and gentlemen, probably the easiest way that we're going to do this is with Deacon Armstrong, because Deacon Armstrong, as you've seen, he brings us the decreased defense, but he also brings us a lot of turn meter manipulation. Now, we do also have increased speed here from Lady Noelle, but she doesn't do any sort of turn meter decreasing. Let's go ahead and take a look at other options here if you don't have this. So let's go ahead and take a look at fill turn meter. You have Inquisitor Shamel, so when he's removing, debuffs, he can go ahead and fill turn meter. You obviously have Udix Arctor, who is the new login champion. And we have Mordecai, who can do it as well. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at decreased turn meter, guess who we're going to see there? Ladies and gentlemen, you are not ready for this. In a shocking turn of events, it is also Deacon Armstrong, because he fills and decreases the turn meter, so he's going to be an insane champion for this. Now, Alice is also a good option. And, hell, worst case scenario, bring in yourself a Armiger as well. He has decreased turn meter on the A1, right? Good luck doing that 40 times in the fight. But, I mean, realistically, I'm going to be honest here, guys. I see a lot of comments on YouTube. I see a lot of comments on Facebook. I see a lot of comments everywhere talking about how I can't beat I can't be Faction Wars. I can't be Faction Wars stage. Faction Wars hard stage like 10 or whatever, right? And my opinion on it right now is good, perfect, right? This is supposed to be hard content that was presented to the end game players. Let me be perfectly clear. This is end game content. You're not going to be playing Raid for 30 days and then getting in here and beating Faction Wars hard and getting the mythical champion, right? Unless you're spending like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the game, right? You're going to have progressed decently through the Cursed City to do this, to get good gear. You're going to have to have, you know, beat Doom Tower up without issues, right? Like, at this stage in the game anyways. Obviously, with power creep coming in, you know, in 3 years, people are probably going to be beating this on, like, their first day playing, and they'll be like, what are you talking about, Gear Bear YT? But as of right now, at least, you're going to need a pretty stacked account to do this. I also see people talking about how they can't beat the content, and then they don't even have, like, their Great Hall leveled out for Faction Wars, right? I'm actually working on, and I can maybe show this at the end, but I'm grinding a little bit of Live Arena right now. I'm trying to take a little bit of a break for it while the season's not live, but as soon as that season goes live again, I'm going to be grinding the absolute hell out of Live Arena and throwing all of those into Faction Wars hard. And so into Faction Wars specifically, because the reason for that is obviously you want to be able to beat the content first of all, but the important part is also being able to consistently beat the content even after your first time beating it, because if I sit here and I manual this and I get through it perfectly fine, well, that's great, but that doesn't really help me in a week's time when I want to be able to auto this and my champions are getting their ass kicked because they're not strong enough, right? So something to consider there. Obviously, you know, we don't really expect players, or I don't really expect players to have that particular area of their faction or their Great Hall maxed out, because I mean, like, who was investing in Faction Wars anyways? I wasn't. I was investing in, like, City of Centranos and Hydra and those sorts of things, right? The higher tier priority. Now, the one good thing is Plarium has made it so that, like, the Faction Wars section is a bit of, like, a lower tier investment. So we've got the ability to invest very heavily into it for a fairly low metal cost, which is absolutely fantastic. We're going to go ahead and attack here. Only Deacon gets froze. That's pretty huge, actually. But yeah, so, like, for example, you compare that to, like, trying to invest in Hydra, obviously, right? And, like, the Hydra investment in terms of, like, how many Live Arena medals it takes. It's night and day. So we're going to throw this on auto. But yeah, if you're struggling with Faction Wars hard, you know, it's going to be content that you can progress through on your account. Obviously, when City of Centranos first came out, people were struggling with Amius. When Doom Tower came out, people were struggling with, you know, progressing through that. When Hydra came out, people were struggling with that. And obviously, when Chimera came out, people were also struggling with that. Shocker, right? So content inside games like Raid, believe it or not, does just get easier as time goes on. You may have to consider you know, investing in certain champions that you may not have had built before. Same thing as we had to do with City of Centranos, right? A lot of people built out a lot of champions to use against Amius or against waves that they just did not have built previously. So you may have to do that for this as well, which is not the end of the world, people. You got to do what you got to do. Now, we're going to be going ahead and fighting the boss here. So the stipulation is we have to clear the stage in 100 turns. Not sure if we're going to be able to do this. We do have double DPS in the way of Ruella, as well as Dythe. I do have Creodin in here, but he's not really built for damage, so I think I am going to switch him out with Ruella. The two of them are doing pretty similar roles anyways, and my team is a little bit cracked out as well. Like, I have a +4 5-star awakened Ruella, right? So, you know, it may not be the best example of how to get through this, but I mean, hell, it's gonna work, right? So let's go ahead and boost Dythe's turn meter. Let's go ahead and hit this AoE. We do get no extra turn, which is pretty awesome. Really just hoping we can get through this quickly. We're gonna see a revive here right away, I think, unless we can put her to sleep, which we do. We're gonna try and take out the Mistress there, which we also do. So this is going pretty fantastically so far, if I do say so myself. We'll try to put her to sleep. It did not happen, unfortunately. We're going to go ahead and get the increase accuracy, increase attack into no extra turn, unfortunately. Dythe, I don't think, is crit capped either, so it's going to mean that, you know, obviously there's instances where he's not doing as much damage as he could be. It's going to be a bit tough with this as well, because obviously everybody's pretty squishy, right? So, you know, something to consider there. You may have to bring in a little bit more tanky damage dealers. We're going to go ahead and take out the Neldor. And we're going to go ahead and try to whack down the Yannica here, basically just as quick as possible. We've already used a quarter of our turns, though, just getting through Wave 1, which is pretty crazy. That's kind of the one area my team struggles right now, is I don't really have strong AoE DPS inside the Sylvan Watchers, which is a shame, but the extra turns from Eostrid certainly help that turn count rack up pretty quick as well. Let's go ahead and just whack into the Ursula here. Let's go ahead and boost Ruella, just so she can get back around to her turn a little bit quicker. Get a buff there. Go ahead and go for the AoE. We don't get an extra turn, unfortunately, but it kind of is what it is. We're going to go ahead and whack into the Lightsworn here, take some of his turn meter. We do get some of our turn meter taken, as well as a block active skills, which is pretty cool. The Opardon is sleeping, though, which we're thankful for. We're going to go ahead and put the sleep there as well. We're going to attack the Ethelyn. Go ahead and hit the Opardon there. Let's go ahead and whack into the Opardon again. An extra turn would be pretty cool, but we don't get it, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and whack him, try to take him down. We're halfway through our turns, ladies and gentlemen. We may not do this. We may not do this. Go ahead and sleep Lysandra there. Some extra turns coming in from somebody would be pretty awesome, because we have a lot of supports in here, so unfortunately those supports aren't doing a lot of damage, right? Like Eustrid and whatnot, but we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and hit with Dythe. Go ahead and hit with Dythe again. Yeah, we have like 40 turns to beat the boss, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't have some of the really strong damage dealers that you might expect to see from this faction, so this could be problematic. Let's see, though. Let's go ahead and do this. So this is the guy that places the poisons and whatnot, so we've already faced this boss in some of the other factions. Going to go ahead and do this. The decreased speed and whatnot on the boss. Let's go ahead and boost up the Ruella here. Let's go ahead and buff up with you. Let's go ahead and try to hit the AoE. They are all void, but we don't get the decreased defense landed on everybody, unfortunately. We're going to go ahead and steal some turn meter here with the Ruella. We do get a block debuffs placed on the boss there, which is very annoying. Let's go ahead and do this. We have like 24 turns to do this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this is going to happen. We get the AoE there from him. His buffs are gone now, which is perfect. We're going to turn meter fill. We're going to go ahead and hit the extra turn with Dythe. We're going to hit the A1 here. An extra turn comes in. Another extra turn we don't quite get. Let's go ahead and sleep here. Let's go ahead and cleanse and boost. Let's go ahead and hit the A2. This is going to be close, though. This is going to be close. We're 85 turns in, so we have 15 turns left. We should have tried the sleep here, but it is what it is. We also don't hit with the Dythe. I bet we can do this if we bring in, like, stronger DPS builds on some of these champions, so we may have to do that as well. The Warcaster gets off his annoying ability there. Now, unless we can just hit, like, every single damage-dealing proc known to man on this boss in the next, 4 turns, I don't think we're going to do it. Unfortunate as that is. Let's go ahead and A1 here. Now, Ruella is obviously doing decent damage, right? So, we're going to go ahead and back out. What we're going to do here is we're going to go champions. We're going to go... Kellen is a good option, too, if you're just needing damage. As you can see, though, I don't really have, like, legendary damage dealers, so... we have crit damage here on the Ruella. I'm going to sink a little bit of silver into upgrading that. Perfect. Some extra damage there. And then we're going to go ahead and do a preset manager. We're going to save this. We're going to save this as just Ruella. We're going to save it as champion preset. Now... Okay. Ruella. Ruella. There we go. Now we're going to go to global presets, and we're going to bring over, I think, the Carnage gear. So we're going to get a little bit less attack, but a lot more... Actually, you know what? Like, those stats aren't even crazy, but she is going to be in lethal set, whereas she's not in a damage-dealing set currently. So we're going to spend over 1 million silver to switch that over, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy. The things that I do for you guys. The things I do. So she's fast. She's got a lot of damage. She's now got ignore defense as well. She is cooking. Look at that. A little bit more damage there. That's exactly what we want to see from our girl, Ruella. Let's Let's go ahead and try to clap with the Dicey here. Doesn't happen, unfortunately. We're going to try and sleep the Shaman. We do get it. Perfect. We're going to A1 here. Didn't quite take her out, unfortunately. We're going to do this to get a cooldown reset. We're going to try and clap here again. Maybe get some turn meter pushback. Doesn't happen, though, unfortunately. We're going to try for a sleep. Also doesn't happen, so she revives the Kaja, which is kind of annoying. We're going to take her out, though. We don't even take her out. My god, ladies and gentlemen, this RNG is not favoring me. And we get the cleanse there, so we're going to go ahead and try this again. This is just obscene. Obscene. We could always come back to this, too. Like, I'm okay. You know, just taking the 3-star here. So, here's the deal. I'm going to push through this. I'm going to see if I can't get it this round. And we're just going to take the result of whatever happens this round, right? So, if we get the 3-star, perfect. If we get a 2-star, that's okay. We can always come back later, right? In kind of the whole spirit of, like, hey, you know, not everybody has the ability to beat all the stages. We'll do something like that, right? We'll do something like that. We're going to go ahead and buff up here again. Now, with the extra damage coming in from the Ruella, that should help us to get through this a little bit quicker, I would think. But we're already at, like, you know, 16 turns used so far. So, I mean, you know, who really knows, right? We're going to go ahead and try to land the A1 here again. Another extra turn. Very nice. We, of course, we get the cleanse from the Shaman. Why would we not, ladies and gentlemen? I expected nothing less. Nothing less. There we go. We're going to take down the Yannicka, though. We're going to put her to sleep. Fuck you, Yannicka. Remove a buff from the Shaman. She lost her revive on death. Fuck you, Shaman. Shaman's so annoying. We're going to sit her ass down. Get out of here. We're already 30 turns deep, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we're getting the 3-stars here. But we'll see. Just depends on how quickly we can get through this wave, I suppose. We're going to A1 there into the Ursala. Almost take her out. Almost clap her. Let's go ahead and just buff up here. Go ahead and hit that AoE. No extra turn, unfortunately. We're going to hit the Opard and put him to sleep. Put him to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hit the A1 on the Ursala. We're going to get some turn meters stolen here, which is fantastic. We got a revive on death everywhere. We got the block active skills, people. This is going very well, as you can see. I should have tried to CC the Ethelyn there as well, but it is what it is. We're going to A2 onto the Opardon. We don't take him out. Fantastic. Dicey doesn't crit hit. Dicey, in case you couldn't tell, is not crit capped. So, a little bit of damage left on the table there, certainly. Let's go ahead and just cycle through this. So, A1. Yeah, we're 56 turns in, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we're getting this, but, you know, maybe crazier things have happened. I don't know. At least we're getting the buff removals there, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and A1 here. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and do this. Hopefully kill him here to remove his revive on death, but we don't, which is annoying. We're going to whack into the Lysandra. We're going to whack AoE with the Dicey. Extra turn. We're going to take him out. We're going to boost up the Ruella. We're going to whack into Lightsworn, I think that is. We take him down. 70 turns. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are not getting the 3-stars here. It is not happening. But, you know what? Well, we have 25 turns, roughly, to work with after Eostrid goes. Maybe. There is a chance. Ruella's doing a lot more damage this time. We need some big plays from you, Ruella. I need some big plays here. We have all the debuffs on the boss that we could ever want, so that's perfect. We get an extra turn here with Dicey. We'll then A2 with Dicey. No extra turn, unfortunately. We'll try to sleep the Warcaster, which is perfect. We get some poisons placed on us, which is not perfect. Ruella coming in with far bigger damage this time, though. Block damage on the boss is very annoying. Unfortunately, they had to place that, apparently. Let's go ahead and get turn meter fill here. I'm going to try and remove that buff. It'd be nice if we did, but we don't, so that's awesome. 92 turns. Yeah, we're not even close. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to fight through this and get the 2-stars at least. I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I don't think this guy can revive, can he? No, he cannot. So, yeah, let's go ahead and sleep here as well. There it is. Let's go ahead and A1 here with a Dithey. Because I can always build these champions later for a bit more damage and then push through this at that point, right? Like, I am more so just focused on getting through this content as much as I can right now and then really just min-maxing it later. And even if I have to come back and clear the boss stages again at some point, you know, fuck it, whatever. It is what it is, right? Like, there's worse fates that could befall man. And I've said it before, I'm not really here doing like a tutorial series showing you guys how to beat this stuff most efficiently. I'm here showing you how a player beats this content, right? Boom. Ruella is definitely doing decent damage though, so if we started to combine her with like another decent damage dealer, or hell, even brought in like a third damage dealer, maybe replace Eustrid or not with like a Kellen or something like that, because apparently they do decent damage. That could work pretty well. We get an extra turn proc there. No, another extra turn. This is crazy. Dithey's popping off now, baby. Let's go ahead and A1 on the Warcaster. No other extra turns, though, which is a bit of a shame. We're going to boost Dithey up, though. I'm going to get an A1 with Ruella. Look at her damage. Look at her damage. Hard Faction Wars, ladies and gentlemen. And look at that damage. Look at that DPS coming in from Ruella. She is an absolute beast. We're only like 20 turns past as well. Like, the thing is, I 100% think we could do it if we had more AoE damage to just clear the waves, right? Because we really struggled to get through those waves. It's like 50 turns until we got through the waves, which kind of set us way back. Which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, it is what it is. I could sit here, and I could run this for the next, like, you know, 7 days straight, and then get it eventually, but I'll just take the 2 stars for now. Brimstone finishes them off. Perfect. We're on to the next wave. What do we have here? Heal your champions. HP by, is that 1 million plus? That seems easy enough. We have Eustrid in here. Obviously, another fantastic option is going to be Oella, as well as King Galkabar are very, very strong healers. You know, anybody who's doing a lot of healing. Lady of Irith, as well as Tree Shield Knot, are also going to be both fantastic options as well. So I think we can probably honestly just go through this on auto and let them do their thing, but we'll step in if need be as well. But you can see just how many heals are coming out here. Like, we're already at 384,000 on wave 1, which is pretty crazy. And then obviously the more turns we get, the more they're going to be healing as well, because we're going to have Lady of Irith placing those continuous heals. We're going to have Tree Shield Knot healing on the A2, Eustrid healing on her A3. Anytime somebody gets turn meter filled, we heal a little bit, which is just crazy. So we're already at 782,000, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is going to be an easy challenge. And what's cool about this too is Dithey does actually have a remove buff on his A1. So with these pesky, annoying ass man-eaters that just don't want to die, we have a chance to actually remove those buffs from them, which is pretty cool. If he wants to proc it, though, obviously he's, you know, sometimes a little bit unsure if he wants to do that. So we're going to take it off auto. And we've already hit the heal requirements, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy indeed. We're going to go ahead. What is the chance here? It's a 50% chance. So, obviously, the Man-Eater has a lot of buffs up there, which means that we need to boost around and have a chance to remove those again. We'll go ahead and just let him do his thing. We'll just try to sleep here as well, but we can't, obviously, Gare Bear YT, because there's a block debuffs, duh. We do get the block debuffs removed, which is so helpful. Unkillable is really what we're looking for. We can put the Man-Eater to sleep now. We can tell him a bedtime story, sing him a lullaby, you know, something like that. Let's go ahead and get that A1 over here, decrease the turn meter more than we should. Go ahead and get a sleep here again. Everybody's only under the unkillable for one more turn, which is nice, so they just need to take a turn, and then we're good to go. Annoying waves, though, certainly, with Man-Eater in them. If Man-Eater gets a turn, you're fun. Say goodbye. It's out the window. Let's go ahead and throw it back on auto here. Eustrid, combined with the rest of these champions, definitely makes the whole heal your champions a certain amount challenge a bit of a joke. Like, you've seen how quick we just racked it up. It's pretty insane. If Man-Eater goes down, we're now also going to go ahead and take out the Ugo here, I think, just to make sure she doesn't get a turn and do anything crazy. Dithey is like such a goated champion as well. He's pretty crazy. We have the Unkillable coming in from the Siege Hulk as well, and another annoying champion to go against inside any sort of Faction Wars content, but it is what it is. We keep getting counterattacked with the A1 block buffs from that champion, and I don't even think it's a 100% chance to land, but he's doing it as if it is, which is insane. He didn't land it that time on Eustrid. Is he going to land it on Not? He does. Look at that. Amazing. I'm curious. That's Ugir, Worm Eater, or something like that. He was a former fusion. And I don't think he was ever really touted as being that good. But, you know, apparently he is. Because look at this. My goodness. My goodness. He doesn't have unkillable or anything like that, though. So we essentially just need to whittle him down. It's taking a little bit longer than I was hoping it would, too. But, you know, again, we have Ruella, who's just a single target DPS unit. So I have Kellen 6-star Awakened. Kellen the Shrike. People keep telling me he's kind of goated with the sauce, but I don't have him built out yet, so I may have to do that at some point and see if he is in fact goated with the sauce, but we'll see. AoE defense break is pretty clutch. We're going to go ahead and try to whack down the Slixus there, which does not happen, unfortunately. Go ahead and get the AoE here. Decrease defense and weaken. Now we're going to try to whack down the Ugo, which we almost do. Damn, that was so close. Let's go ahead and cleanse and boost the Ruella. We're going to go ahead and turn meter boost with her. We're going to go ahead and whack the Slixus a little bit here. I just don't want him getting the turn and doing anything crazy, but I don't think we have Evil Eye on Not, so it doesn't really matter. Go ahead and take out the Ugo now. There we go. Now we can go ahead and take him out. Boom. And now it's just Longhorn left. We should, or Longbeard, I think it is, not Longhorn. We'll go ahead and just throw it on auto. We should be able to do this quite easily. And boom, there it is. Nice little 3 stars. We're on to the next stage, ladies and gentlemen. Place 15 plus freeze debuffs. You already know who's coming in. Creodin, the blue, is going to be fantastic for this. If you don't have him, good luck. He's the only freeze champion inside the faction that I have, and I have most of the champions inside the faction. So unless there's some legendaries that place it that I'm not aware of, you're going to be looking at Creodin. Obviously, you can use a Frostbite or Frost sets kind of all over your champions as well to go ahead and make sure that you're able to complete this challenge. But definitely a little bit more champion-specific than we'd like to see, certainly. We're probably just going to be able to mainly do this on auto again as well, just because, you know, we have the champions that are capable of cycling through their turns, which is perfect. Now, would have been nice if we cycled turns a little bit more so that they were actually not frozen when he did his AoE freeze again, because, you know, those are just wasted freezes there, but it is what it is, I suppose. We can always just cycle back around as well. Very satisfying to see the Mausoleum Mage just get absolutely sat down there. You love to see it. We get the A1 with Creodin, which does place another freeze as well. That's perfect. That's perfect. We're already at 6 freezes placed. Go ahead and target Magnar here. I'm not sure why exactly they weren't targeting Magnar. We'll target Skimfos now just because he has more HP. We'll get the AoE freeze there. We do freeze both of them, which is perfect. We're already at 8 of them placed, ladies and gentlemen. It was a pretty easy challenge if you have the best champion in the faction for doing the challenge, right? Who would have thought? Shocking, I know. There we go. We sit him down. I'll have to make sure to switch over the Ruella gear after as well. If you're curious what she's like when she's built out with the Carnage gear, well, I kind of showed you when I was switching it over, so feel free to pause the video at that point. And then once again, quick little note of action here. Go ahead and join the Discord, which is linked down in the description there. We'd love to have you. Now, Hegemon doesn't land his block active skills on anyone on the team, so fuck you, Hegemon. That's what we like to see. We have 10 freezes placed so far. Eostrid is, of course, just an absolute badass at cycling through returns as well. I want to make sure the Sepulcher gets CC'd here, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and heal up. Let's go ahead and A1 Sepulcher, just to try and decrease our turn meter as much as possible, because I don't want her to place the block debuffs. So there we go. We'll hit the AoE freeze here, which is risky because it will wake her up, but there we go. We have 14 freezes placed. Let's go ahead and just nuke down Hegemon. We don't quite get it. We were so close, unfortunately. Imagine that kind of damage, though, from like an AoE. That would be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty crazy. I could have tried to run the boss stage again with Kellen the Shrike, I suppose, too. But, you know, again, it's okay. It's okay. We'll be able to come back, I promise. Let's go ahead and just get the A1 here into Seeker, and that is now our last freeze placed. So now we can just go through this, and as long as nobody dies at the last second and denies us the full 3 stars, we'll be good to go. So there we go, taking everybody out. And I'm kind of curious, actually, if Tree Shield not can do some damage. I've never really seen him, you know, built for damage, so I'd be interested to see if he can or not. No pun intended there. Because I know that, like, Eostrid can do some decent damage, obviously, because she has, like, ridiculous attack multipliers on her skills that are attack-based for some reason, even though she's strictly just a support champion. But, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. We just have Tarshan left, so we're going to go ahead and just A1 cycle here until he's dead. Make sure we have all our cooldowns available for the next wave. And there we go. Now we'll go ahead and place it back on auto. We should be good to go here. I don't really see anyone from this enemy team messing up our day, because we do have the ability to revive. The only thing to be really aware of is just obviously the Foley's A3, I think it is, where he can block revive, and then also obviously giving him free turn meter was not the play there, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and get some buffs up here, including a strengthen. AoE freeze should take care of things. Yes, in fact, it does. I'm just going to manual this too, just to make sure. So that AoE freeze was obviously pretty clutch there from the Creodin. We're going to go ahead and just do a lot of turn meter boosting here. We have turn meter boosters in the way of Ruella as well as Creodin, which helps out a lot. We're going to A1 on the Blind Seer. Don't take her out, but we do decrease her turn meter a lot. So that's perfect. Ruella is so damn good because obviously she's like built to be kind of like a boss killer, right? But like, you know, even if you're not taking her against bosses, the amount of CC she has in her kit just makes her an absolutely fantastic champion. We're going to go ahead and A2 Gorgorab. Don't quite take him out. I think one of those was a weak hit, actually. We do have Whisper on the other team, which if she were to pop off with like some crazy extra turns or something like that, she could definitely do some damage, but I don't think she'll even get to. She's just getting CC'd into the ground. Ruella there. We're going to reset cooldowns. We're going to go ahead and turn meter boost. Go ahead and turn meter boost. Go ahead and decrease turn meter as well as get some damage out there. We're going to go ahead and A1 into the Blind Seer. A1 here. We don't need the AoE, so I think we're just going to go ahead and do that. Everybody's autos should be set up now perfectly fine. More turn meter boosts coming in from the Ruella. Tree Shield Not is like hands down, I would say probably top 2 support champions at a rare level inside the entire game, which is pretty crazy. Honestly, you know what? I think he's like top 5 rare champions of all time, which is also pretty crazy. Like he's definitely up there with the likes of like Coldheart, like 100%. And the only other champion that really comes close to him in terms of support would be somebody like a Renegade, just because of her cooldown resetting abilities. But that being said, those were today's attacks. So far on Sylvan Watchers, we are unfortunately just missing the 1 star there where we weren't able to beat it within that certain allocated time frame. But, I mean, you know, hey, it is what it is, right? So that being said, Sacred Orders, we've gotten all 3 stars so far on all of the stages, so kind of a little bit of a bonus there. Let's go ahead. Let's go back to the Ruella here, and let's switch her gear back before I forget. So let's go ahead and go to Preset Manager. Let's try this on. Equip. Spending, again, way more money than we should be. Let's go ahead and go by rank, and then you need to put your gear back on as well, you little freak sitting here naked. Go ahead and equip. There we go. Now, let's go to Recently Used first. Expand this over. Show you the builds for everybody if you're curious. Starting with the Sylvan Watchers since they were the first used. Obviously, if you need particular builds for any of these champions at any point, feel free to just go ahead and pause the video and you can go ahead and copy the build there if you're trying to get through it on your own. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to do it for the video today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.